Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade. So Paul Reiser was just telling you, yesterday you and Jennifer Grey, your co-star on Red Oaks, let's get the plug right out of the way. Make
Red
sure to
Oaks,
watch Red Oaks.
Amazon, November 11th, season 2.
The plug is out of the way.
Yes.
We're one of the funniest interviews I've had in forever. So I was so excited to be able to sit down with you 2 days in a row.
Wow, I can imagine my surprise.
I know.
The joy in my
I don't know
heart.
who's the bigger winner today, you or me.
This is like a dream come true. But we had great time. And Jennifer, we did all our publicity together. We're both in the same show, but ironically, we've never been in a scene together. So we never actually worked together until we talked to you. So thank you for that, because she's very fun and lovely.
It is amazing to see, and I was telling somebody this yesterday. You guys were like an improv group together to see the chemistry that plays off together. And I thought about, I grew up on Mad About You, and obviously you and Helen Hunt. When you have to build chemistry with a co-star, what is that like? Is it instantaneous where, like you said, you and Jennifer have never worked together, so it just happens? Or...
Yeah, sometimes it's just like when you get along with people. Sometimes you click and sometimes you don't. And, with Helen Hunt, it was really instant. And we met. I mean, I met her first, and then said, "You should probably come into this show." And so because we got along so well. And Jennifer, we'd met and we've hung up, but she's just a funny New York gal, and so there's a lot of funny and there's a lot of things in common, and she's quite silly. So it's a great cast. Oh, everybody in Red Oaks is just, there's a lot of funny people. Richard Kind and Craig Roberts and Gina Gershon plays my wife in that, and there's chemistry. Maybe I'm just chemically undefined, that I can slip into any relationship.
It's called acting.
That's what it is. No, but actually, what's really fun about Red Oaks, and you kind of see it on the screen, we actually really having a great time. It's a really fun show, and it's in a country club. It's not a prison show. I couldn't do a prison show. I watched. I don't mean to plug another show, but I watched. What's it? The Night of John Turturro.
Great show, by the way.
Great show. And among the many thoughts that I held deeply while watching it was, I don't want to go to prison. I'm not going to do well in prison. I'm going to really behave myself to avoid prison. That, and I want to avoid eczema. Those two things were seared into my head. And for a little while, I might even avoid John Turturro, because I don't know how much of that was fake eczema. No, but it's a very fun setting in Red Oak, so we have a good time. Not like this, where we have a little room and it's not.
Oh, this is what I love.
No, this is
Who needs a big studio? This is fun.
This is like prison, but with better food.
I'm your warden today.
That's it.
I was thinking about being a comedian. And coming out of an interview like yesterday, I can see the way your mind works and how quick it is. And to do stand-up is such an art. Your mind has to be in a different engagement zone. It has to be so quick. When you have to act, when you have to do a show like Red Oaks, what is it like to have to now work off of a script? Do you still improv? How does it all work for you?
I'm thinking, see how it is. They've written great scripts, and you're not really free to just go improvise, because you have a character and you have a story and you're telling. But within that, they say, well, try this, and if you have an idea, sometimes you'll see things will stay. But I'm not a big fan of improvising a lot on camera. I think, as a writer, I know you work hard on writing things, and it's nice when people actually say what you write. And then once you have that, go play and have some fun.
You were on one of the biggest shows of the 90s. I'm dying to know some great Mad About You memories. Like, what were some of the one or two moments that you look back on and you're thinking to yourself, this was crazy. I can't believe this happened.
Well, there were a lot of great memories. But that particular thought, I can't believe this is happening. We had often, because we had our idols. We had our guest stars were people that we, literally grew up on. Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner were my heroes, my comedy heroes. And then we had Carol Burnett and Carol O'Connor. And we had Jerry Lewis, for God's sake. And then non-comic. We had Yoko Ono, and we did a scene where she was great and she was wonderful. And then we had this little tag that we would do after the show. Like when credits would run, and usually they were silly, and we would break the reality a little bit, and we didn't have anything in mind. We said, what do we do for the under credits thing? And Yoko suggested. She said, we were sitting there scratching our head. We had the live audience, and she said, kind of raised her hand modestly and went, I have an idea. John and I always said, whenever we have a chance, let's just say, give peace a chance. And we went, Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's do it. So we got into bed, and there was Helen Hunt, me, and Yoko in the middle, just in bed reading the paper. And then she went, "Give peace a chance." And there's a look. I think it's actually in the show where I just looked at Helen and went, "Yeah, that happened. We're in a bed-in with Yoko saying, 'Give peace a chance.'" So there were moments like that where I got to acknowledge we were never not aware of how cool it was because we were, even absent all the guest stars, we loved the show, and we loved bringing our own stuff into the show. Everybody contributed their stories, and we were very proud of it all the way through the end. It's not like we ever tapered off. It was a good job. That was a fun place to be for 7 years.
TV has changed so much. When we look at that era, it was NBC, it was ABC. I mean, it was the big networks. That's where everybody was housed. Now, look at your show. You're on Amazon.
Well,
you're on a streaming system.
Yeah.
That's how crazy is that?
I'm doing a show for the post office. Where it's funny. I'm doing a show which will be come out next year on CISO, which is the new and for NBC Comcast digital space, but it's about 1972 and about a young guy who, like a 20-year-old kid who got a job working behind the scenes at the Tonight Show. So in working on this, I've been watching a lot of old clips of Johnny because we're using clips of Johnny in the show, and it hit me that seems so long ago in history that we didn't have even VCRs. So you wanted to watch Johnny Carson, you stay up till 11:30 and you watch Johnny Carson, and it involved a commitment that people can't do anymore. People, I'll watch it. I'll tape it tomorrow. I'll watch it. I'll watch it on the stairmaster. I'll watch it on the bus. It's like, no, we didn't have that, and it, good or bad, I don't know, but it was a different commitment that in the old days you were invested and you didn't have 27 shows piling up that you had to get to. So it's a very different era. I don't think it's bad. I mean, there's a lot of great content out there, and you just got to find time to get to it.
What do you think about the comedy world right now? I think about when you were coming up, you had to slave away as comedians in the comedy stores. Then you got your break. Carson had you on, or Letterman had you on. Someone had you on, and next thing you know, you get a show like Mad About You. But now you could do a YouTube video and get 6 million views, and people care.
Yeah, but you know what? The rule is still the same. You can get people's attention, but then you have to be able to sustain it and keep their interest. So I don't think that part has not changed. It was only a few years ago that I got back into doing stand-up, and because I took a long break, and what hit me immediately was how much it hadn't changed, because the world has changed, technology has changed, but making people laugh hasn't changed, and the muscle that you have to get proficient at it hasn't changed. It's like, there's no shortcut. And I thought, there's very few things that have not been technologically, updated and shortcutted, and there are no apps. There are no apps to get funnier faster. It's only elbow grease and hard work. So you can go on YouTube, but then you need another funny YouTube the next day. So your problem is still the same.
My final question: the
Ever?
show takes hopefully
so
not
good.
ever.
No, I hope you keep
scary.
you're
It's my
doing it
first. It's my second time. Yesterday was my first time. Today's my second time. No, God, after tens of thousands of these, I still figuring out what I'm doing. But the show takes place in the 80s.
Which one? Red Oaks. Yes.
Red Oaks.
Don't confuse me now. Yes, Red Oaks takes place in the 80s.
Your favorite 80s memory?
My favorite 80s memory. I don't know. Well, I got married in the 80s. I met my wife in the 80s. I did my first Johnny Carson in the 80s. A lot of good things. I got my first really bad 80s haircut in the 80s. So a lot was happening.
Congrats, man. You're absolutely awesome.
Thanks.